Hey, really sorry I don't have the meaning of life or death in this video. This is just kind of a garbled rant of things I've been thinking about the past few months, spat out into this here video. So if that's not what you're looking for, then this probably isn't for you. If it is, boom, cool, crisscrossed applesauce, awesome. This is just my opinion. I'm not trying to say any of this is fact. Take whatever I say how you will. I'm not intending to offend anyone with this. This is just how I see it, and it might be a little naive, so just be aware of that. Okay. Also, I got a haircut, so yay. Which are The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Stoner by John Williams, and Not the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, but Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom, I believe. I don't have a copy of that, so we're supplementing it with this one so I can hold something. You might be wondering, how do these contribute to death and the big question, the meaning of life? They all have a different take on it that I would just like to discuss, because I thought it was interesting. Maybe give my take of, I don't know the meaning of life. Does anyone? It's an impossible question, right? The first book I want to talk about is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom, because this was the first one that I read that got me on this train of thought, kind of. Basically, it's a memoir about this dude, Morrie. It was this guy's old teacher, this old professor, and Morrie was super down to earth. Basically, he got this. He got ALS. I don't know how to pronounce that, but basically, it means your nerves stop working and you die from it. And Morrie takes on this absolutely positive outlook on life, and the whole book is just about what he talks about before he dies. It's pretty beautiful. Morrie treats life in the way that being fully human, being 100% human, being a human being and experiencing all of the human range of emotions and fully embracing it, not letting yourself be scared of it, is a fulfilled life. That's how I interpreted it, at least. This is based off of true thing. Morrie did die, but he made sure that he was ready for death, and he treated it as an inevitable aspect of life that we all need to get comfortable with, which I think is really interesting, because if you're anything like me, I try to not think about death, and I'm like, I'm not gonna die, but I can bite it tomorrow. So it's really interesting, because this book specifically has a super positive take on, a super positive outlook on life. And how I saw it was, at least the meaning in life for Morrie was being a person, being a human being, not getting caught up in work and letting it take over your whole life, but putting your faith in other people and friends and family. It was a really sweet view in it. Now, we're gonna look at the other side of the coin here with The Fault in Our Stars. Okay, The Fault in Our Stars is written by John Green. You might know him from Vlogbrothers. John Green is my goat, bro. I love John Green. This book was so freaking sad, okay? It's about these kids who, every child in the story has cancer. And it's about this girl Hazel and this dude Augustus, and they fall in love. Death is super prevalent in this book because many of the characters are on the verge of dying. They're not sure if they're going to, but they're like, we're probably gonna die. And it really puts the view on mortality a lot sooner. These kids are growing up still, and they know they have a really, really short time span that they can be alive. And so death is so prevalent in this book, and inherently the meaning of life too, because the characters are searching for the meaning of it all. And specifically, there's two viewpoints covered in this book. Or more so, there's one viewpoint and a counter to that viewpoint, which is Augustus Waters' view on life. And this is a view that I used to share before, and it was so interesting to see it in here, which was that you had to be famous, or you had to have done something important. You have to have done something that could be remembered for the rest of history. You have to be remembered for the rest of time for your life to have value. Now, Hazel doesn't agree with this, and she's like, dude, everyone's gonna die. It's actually just impossible for everyone to be remembered. It's not going to happen. It's something you have to come to terms with. And so, in Tuesdays with Morrie dealt with death very, very well, very stoically. He did not complain, none of that. But in this book, it paints a different picture, and that these characters are not perfectly mentally strong. They're teenagers, and they do, like, when they're dying, they are freaking sad about it sometimes, which is that I would be too. I mean, they are extremely affected by it. And the way they look at life becomes more desperate. It becomes more necessary because they're so close to dying that they want a solace, they want a comfort like everyone else does. They just have to reach for it sooner. And so through death, John Green tries to explore what purpose does one life have, especially one that will not be remembered. Like the characters in this book. Right, they're fictional, but their lives were not anything extraordinary. They weren't, Alexander the Greats or whatever, but the book, in my eyes, tries to say that this is okay. It doesn't necessarily give a full reason, at least from what I interpreted, of why. It acknowledges the fact that you can't rely on being remembered and that a purpose in our life can't come from this. There's a lot of quotes in this book that are great. And again, I haven't even fully interpreted this book, if I'm going to be honest, but it just kept me, I read this like right after Tuesdays with Morrie, and it got me thinking so much about life and about how, what's the friggin' point of it all? For me, this book poses a lot of questions, and it doesn't set out to fully answer them all. And I think that's great, and that's what this video is kind of intending to do. I'm not sitting out here to answer all these questions, because I, quite frankly, at this point in my life, believe they're impossible to answer fully. But at least we can ask the questions, and maybe that can get us somewhere. There's a part in this book, Hazel is at a support group, and she says she wishes she would just die. And she asks the support group if he ever felt that way. And he says yes, so why don't you? I thought about that for a long while afterwards. I don't know fully why I wake up and I'm happy to be alive, why I continue to keep going and living every day. I'm making this very clear, I'm not suicidal at all. I'm very happy to be alive, but why? And I don't know why. I cannot answer that question for you. And then lastly, we come to Stoner by John Williams. This is the most recent read I have read. This book was it packed a hard punch. It truly did. This book is about a man, Stoner, William Stoner, and his life. And his life is mundane. His life is tedious. And from an outside perspective, in his life, nothing of inherent meaning happened. He didn't really leave a big mark on the earth. He didn't, scar the earth with his life, go through anything actually insane. But when you read it, you see how much meaning his life does have. In the little things, in the details, in the small everyday minutiae, in the relationships, in the vast emotions he feels. And this book, right, it's his entire life. You know he's gonna die from the first 2 paragraphs. And so the whole book, you're working from William's birth to William's death. And the first 2 paragraphs were utterly devastating for me, because I read them and I was like, dude, what the fuck? This guy just, this is so sad. He was talking about how no one would remember him, how everything he did would be forgotten, and basically he would become a nothing piece of dust floating through the vacuum of time. And I was like, I don't want my life to be like that. But by the end of the book, I was looking at it different. William even thinks the same way at the end of the book, that, his life was pointless. But he comes to an understanding, and an understanding that I as a reader did too, which was that he was him. This sounds corny, okay, this sounds like some Disney XD shit, but hear me out. His life was rich. His life was full. And is this, maybe it's not a meaning, right? Maybe this isn't a meaning of life, but it's something. It is something. I believe it's something. I don't fully understand why. I don't think I have the capacity to understand why, and I would probably have to write an actual script and think about this for a few years to figure out why. I probably should have scripted this, but you're getting just basically I'm regurgitating what has been brewing in my head for a few months now about these topics. I've talked about them a little bit, but I'm trying to just say basically what I've been thinking about, because with these books I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think the sequential order in which I read them is wonderful, because in all of these books it made me at least see that through death becomes a desire for purpose. Because if we're all gonna die, then what was the point? What was the point? That's what I've been thinking about. If we're all going to die, why? What was the significance of the living? To me, it's just the common human question, and these books have really eliminated it. Okay, we started in Tuesdays with Morrie with the juncture in which a man was going to die, and he was looking at the complete and utter positives about it. Honestly, kind of a saint. Morrie is an absolute G. But Fault in Our Stars, we go to children experiencing the same inevitability of death, not getting the full experiences of life, but getting a little bit, getting a little bit before they die. And now we have Stoner, who experienced everything kind of similar to Morrie, but he didn't have an insane view in it. He almost ended up dying, viewing his life as a complete failure. But he changes, he thinks about it differently by the very end of this book. I don't want to spoil it too much. But I think we get a wide range of death and inherently the meaning of life that comes from the question of death. And I don't know what it is. I've discussed my interpretations, kind of what the meaning might be. You know, Tuesdays with Morrie people, other people being fully human. And I think that is echoed throughout all of these other books. And so the last thing I can think of to leave this video off, all of these ideas scatterbrained about that I've thrown around here, I don't have an answer. I don't have a conclusion to what it all means, what the freak it means to live and what it means to die. The only thing I can think of, the only thing I can say, can we ask for more than just having an enriched life? To be able to live, to be able to love, to be able to hurt and to be able to laugh, to live an enriched life in which we embrace the experiences we have. I sound like a Disney character right now. Like, just live. And I don't know. That's all I can really think of. Maybe it's overly optimistic. I don't know. Maybe I haven't experienced enough to have any say on this really. But right now, as little grubby teenager you're watching right now, that's kind of what I think is can we ask for more than an enriched life in which we are able to love and be loved by others? I don't know. That is the catharsis or the conclusion of this video. I don't know, and I don't know if I will ever know, but I can try. I can try. That's all I gotta say. Dude, if anyone has anything to say in the comments, I would absolutely love to hear it. Please share your thoughts on what you think about. Or don't listen to me at all. Dude, there's no requirement. This is just my garbled, blabbered opinion, and take it how you will. Thank you so much for watching this kind of ramble, because that's what it was. I swear, I am not a Disney character or a cartoon character fully, at least. Fully not yet, at least. Have a great day, have a great life, and hopefully I will see you next week. Okay.